clerk please call the roll?
Freeholder Di Nicola.
Here.
Freeholder Felice.
Present.
Freeholder Gans.
Aye.
Freeholder Sullivan.
Here.
Freeholder Bud.
Here.
Freeholder Zor.
Here.
Chairman Tinelli.
Here. Evidence of a quorum is present. Everyone please rise for pledge of allegiance. Mayor Lafrance, would you please lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the clerk please read the minutes to be accepted?
March 16, 2016, work session, Chairman Tinelli absent.
May I have a motion to accept the minutes?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. May I have a motion to open the meeting to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We will now have a hearing of the general public with a 3-minute time limit in effect. The board attorney will keep the time. When the time of the speaker has expired, the timekeeper will announce that the time has expired. Please fill out a slip of paper with your name, address, and general topic. So there's a number of people, obviously, that would like to speak about one topic, so I'd like to take a few of the people prior to that are not about the pipeline. So, Michelle Talano.
Good evening, everyone. My subject today is county budget. Last year, the Bergen County Freeholders approved $530 million budget that raised taxes by 4.3%. This year, I draw the board's attention to the statistics provided by the Bureau of Labor Statistics on wage and salary employment, which can be acquired online easily. Many in New Jersey did not receive increases to the level of 4% to offset last year's increases in taxes. Thus, their household budgets suffer. I refer to the SHRM, the Society for Human Resource Management article. U.S. companies' salary increases for budgets for 2016 are projected to increase by 2.7%, down from the 2.9% increase for 2015, according to a preliminary forecast of global salary budgets by ERI at the Economic Research Institute, a provider of compensation data. Many would probably be ecstatic if they actually received 2.7% this year. I'm asking the board to consider that residents' wages are not keeping pace with the increase in taxes from their towns and the county. As such, I challenge the board to be more than careful with additional spending, which affects each and every resident of Bergen County. This board should be an agent of austerity and construct a press release to encourage other mayors and council members of each town and the county to do likewise with their budgets. Residents should not be asked to take on the burden of additional hires and increased spending. Budgets should be zero-based in their development, and each manager should have to justify all spending categories line by line. Each department head should then approach the submissions with an eye on what is truly necessary. Consider your constituents. Residents are having a difficult time keeping up. Consider the elderly, someone's grandparents who are having trouble on fixed incomes, the families who bear increased costs by school boards that don't know how to sharpen their pencils in their negotiations. I'm asking that the board not just be good with budget review. I'm asking each one of you to be exemplary in your actions. Yes, it's difficult perhaps to do so, not popular with friends in the county perhaps, but standing out in a crowd or group enables a person to see oneself in a mirror more clearly every morning. Thank you.
Mr. Dunsey?
Today I'd like to talk about mass transit. To save time, I'm just going to read a few quotes from 3 articles, and then I'll give them to your staff so that you can get copies and read the whole thing if you want. So the first one is from reason.com, and the article is Why High-Speed Rail Fails as a Jobs Program. And it says, freight rail in America is a crucial part of our transportation infrastructure, accounting for 43% of the shipment of goods and services from one city to the other. Thus, investments in freight rail have a direct impact on the bottom line for American businesses. Increasingly, the speed and reliability of goods shipment and improve productivity. Passenger rail in the U.S. is a different story. Passenger rail currently carries a very small portion of city-to-city travel, the market targeted by high-speed rail, and it's likely to remain modest well into the future. In 2008, Amtrak carried 28.7 million passengers. By comparison, there were 687 million airline passengers in 2008, in part because air service provides frequent high-speed rail travel to geographically distant cities. Then there's our well-developed highway network that makes automobiles very competitive with rail for distances under 200 miles. In most cases, once travel and wait time to train stations are factored in, travelers will spend as much time en route on the train as they will in a car. The next article deals with regional rail. It's about Los Angeles's rail system, and it refers to passenger journeys. A passenger journey is different from an unlinked trip. Basically, if you unlinked trip. Basically, if you take if you take one bus and then transfer to another bus to get where you're going, that's one passenger journey and two unlinked trips. So a researcher looked at the change in passenger journeys on Los Angeles mass transit after Los Angeles invested a ton in regional rail. And it went down from about 290 million in 1985 to 200 million in 2015. And the article goes on to talk about the researcher. It says, Rubin was a principal actor in a civil rights lawsuit that forced MTA to reduce its rail spending and increase its spending on buses and lower fares after ridership had fallen about 120 million from its 1985 peak. During the period that the court oversaw MTA, was forced to add more bus service and lower bus pass prices. Rubin shows that during the peak of rising ridership from 1994 to 2007, unlinked trips nearly recovered to the 1985 peak. The ridership increase required a subsidy of $1.4.
3 minutes, Mr. Duncy.
Oh, sorry.
Please wrap it up.
So the gist of these articles is that plain old bus service is much better than rail. It gives you more bang for your buck, and it serves a broader segment of the population.
Great.
I suggest you read through them.
Thank you. Claude Beanstalk.
Good evening. Claude Beanstalk, Fairlawn. You want to comment on the William Carlos Williams Center? I read an article in the Record today that it costs $8.7 million to fix. I believe the article, yes, it needs a lot of work, that place. And there was also mentioned something about public-private partnerships to take care of the cost. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Unfortunately, I don't have the money to pay for this fixing up. I don't know if it comes out of tax dollars, maybe, but the place should be fixed. Because the people want to go to concerts and ceremonies and programs, and we need a modern facility there. And only by spending money can it be accomplished. Because I am a supporter of the cultural arts. I think it's really a shame that we don't have a functioning performing arts center in Rutherford, and it's been closed since 2012. So I don't know how long it's going to take to fix it. I can't fix it myself. We need a contractor that knows what he's doing. But obviously can be fixed. I thought they might have to tear it down and build it from scratch. Also, there's a situation with parking there that they're talking about putting up a garage, because if you have people coming to the Performing Arts Center, they have to park their car somewhere. And when it gets very crowded in downtown Rutherford, so something should be done about the parking situation. I just want the freeholders to know and the public to know that I'm a supporter of the performing arts. I feel strongly about culture. A country, a county, a city is judged by how it treats its citizens, and people are really much interested in the performing arts, not just movies, but having concerts there, whether you have rock and roll shows or classical concerts or lectures. I think we need a performing arts center, and anything you could do to get it off the ground as quickly as possible would be appreciated by the public. And thank you for allowing me to speak on this issue. I feel very strongly about it. Thank you, Ms. Scott.
Mr. Chairman, just a quick question to the administrator. Is that report available to the freeholders yet?
It should be available, yes.
Okay,
Well,
so we could get a copy.
I think the engineer is still making tweaks.
There were tweaks in it, but I think it's nearly complete.
Oh, great. I'll come back for one. Thank you.
Posted on that.
Jerry Cronin.
Good evening. I just would like to thank the freeholders for their commemoration of the Easter Rebellion that was held here about 10 days ago. It was an awesome tribute to the heritage of Irish people, and I thank you for that. Also, my passion, though, is to get curbing on Rochelle Avenue. Just for your information, the county has approved the widening of the intersection of Rochelle Avenue and Railroad Avenue to allow people to make a left-hand turn in a very congested area. Now, they will be redoing pavement on that entire section of the street, primarily because of work that was done this past year by public service, where absolutely decimated the road system in Rochelle Park. I was reading just about a month ago that the federal government has stated that there was something like $254 million unutilized in the state of New Jersey. I don't remember the exact number for Bergen County, but in that intersection of Rochelle Avenue, Main Street, Essex, and Market Street, there was a sum of something like $3.8 million that was unused. Now, the term that was used was repurposing of money. If my interpretation of that term repurposing is that it can be utilized in some other fashion, then I would strongly suggest that a resolution be passed that curbing be finally put in place on Rochelle Avenue from Railroad Avenue down to Market and Essex Street. I thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor LaFrette.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to speak before you on behalf of the concerned residents of Mahwah and surrounding towns of the Pilgrim Pipeline. So once again, thank you and appreciate your time. My job as mayor is to express the concerns of our residents and protect our resources. With the announcement of the Pilgrim Pipeline, residents came out to our council meeting and were very clear about their concerns, and that is why we are here. Many communities are represented here this evening. Mahwah is just a small part of that puzzle. Here are our concerns. The Pilgrim Pipeline proposed a path directly through Mahwah, Bergen County parkland, and directly on top of our pristine drinking water as a sole source aquifer. Think of our aquifer as a huge bathtub that stretches from upstate New York to the Newark Basin, where millions of people draft water and serve millions of residents. It's not just Mahwah. We are linked together in this battle, both in Bergen County and in our surrounding municipalities. First of all, we have a common cause. I do not believe for one moment that the county is any less concerned about a crude oil pipeline traversing our municipalities in the Bergen County highlands on its way to Linden, New Jersey refineries with a potential for failure. I've said that drinking water will be more valuable than crude oil, and today in Bergen County, with your help, that day has come. We are challenged to make the right decision to protect our pristine wells and our quality of life. We are witnessing here a simple fact that across the nation, communities, county governments, and the federal government is waking up to the threats of our drinking water supply and the threat posed by pipelines, fracking, and the quality of water as we have seen in Flint, Michigan disaster. Our future is on the line here. We are simply asking for your help and your leadership. Many of those behind me will speak in more depth about these concerns. In light of the recent news reports from New York State regarding the pipeline potential impact from the 1907 report, we're asking you to consider rescinding the permit issued to Pilgrim Pipeline to survey the Ramapo Mountains. We are fighting an organization which has enormous wealth, no transparency, and we have no way to know the path of the pipeline or where or when it will file for a permit. We are simply fighting a ghost, and we have no way to know their next move. Simply stated, I believe you share the same concerns. I have no doubt in your dedication. In fact, no less concerning, we are not only talking about a crude oil pipeline from Albany to Linden refineries, we are also talking about a return pipeline from Linden back to Albany in the form of refined product, which is called RBOB. RBOB is a base product for many fuels, diesel, jet fuel, and including gasoline. In New Jersey, service stations across the state are required to meet Phase 2 vapor recovery standards. Those standards mean that even if an ounce of gasoline were to be enter the leak from the station would be shut down by an underground monitoring system. The Pilgrim pipeline is not required to have held to those same standards. It's unlikely that any pipeline would fail in the first few years of operation, or is it likely that the failure would occur in the first 10 years of operation? However, I would suggest that the failure will likely occur in the next 15 to 20 years. That means that decisions that we make today affect many generations after we are gone. Chances are we'll be long gone, but we have an obligation to protect our drinking water for our children. After what we watch going on in California with the devastating droughts and farmers are at war over supply, rescinding this survey permit will send a very loud message to Pilgrim Pipeline. I certainly can appreciate the time and effort and dedication it takes to be a freeholder. Together, we have a responsibility to our communities, and we are both often asked to make difficult decisions, and we do so with the residents in mind and the impact of those decisions on our future. I would now like you to allow others behind me to express their concerns. And once again, thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Mayor. Just really quickly, we do have a 3-minute time limit. I'm going to try and give people an opportunity to wrap up their statements, but with the number of people that want to speak, we want to make sure everybody gets an opportunity. So just bear with us. We're going to try and, if we have to extend it a little bit, we'll try and do that, but just be mindful that there's a lot of people that would like to speak tonight. Ken Dolsky.
Good evening. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I would like to read to you from the April 1st letter that was sent to Bergen County Freeholders and County Executive Tedesco. The Coalition Against the Pilgrim Pipeline and over 1,000 Bergen County residents are writing to ask that you rescind Bergen County's survey permission to Pilgrim Pipeline. Our patience is worn out. After many meetings and communications among our coalition and the freeholders, county executive, and staff, we have yet to receive any promised documentation from the county that justifies the county's continuing ability to permit Pilgrim to access county-owned land. Based on our decades of experience and contrary to Bergen's statements, we are very confident of the following. The pipeline company does not have the right to survey. Denying survey permission does not put the county at great risk of a lawsuit. DEP and Green Acres would not assume control of the process if Bergen County rescinded access. Allowing the survey does not improve the county's ability to attempt to redirect the pipelines. Denying permission survey would not result in the county losing the ability to have any input on the path of the pipeline. Pilgrim is a private company, not a utility, and has no power of eminent domain. We know of no statute, regulation, or governmental process that gives them the right to survey. Other entities, including Union County, Chatham, and Montville, have prohibited surveys and have not been sued. Even Hunterdon County, who denied survey permission for the Penny's pipeline, has not been sued. We understand the county's concerns about lawsuits and financial losses. However, even if denying survey permission did result in a lawsuit, Bergen County would still have the option to allow the survey if it felt it was not on firm legal ground. This would have been a very simple and reasonable thing to do instead of just folding as soon as they ask for permission. Certainly you agree there are times when a lawsuit must be fought and the potential costs weighed against the alternative. In this case, we're talking about the irreplaceable source of drinking water for over 1 million Bergen residents. How much would it cost the county and its municipalities if this water supply were polluted for years or decades, as happens when oil enters an aquifer system? More than the cost of defending a lawsuit of this type? You betcha. Bergen County is playing Russian roulette with our water supply, a very dangerous game. The DEP confirmed the county has every authority to deny survey permission and that the DEP would not force the county to issue permits, nor would they sue the county as a result of this. Spokesman for Green Acres said, at this point, as we have advised the county in the past, it is up to Bergen County to make their own best determination on whether or not to grant permission for access to the parklands. We're at a total loss to understand how providing survey permission will give the county greater influence over the route. There has been no documentation to this effect in any of the OPRA requests that we received. Did the Bergen administration make a secret verbal agreement on this? Pilgrim has not even requested the ability to survey other routes, implying that they're not seriously considering them.
3 minutes, Mr. Dawson.
Negotiating parties only get what they want when they have leverage. Bergen County has given away all its leverage and weakened its negotiating position by permitting access. By showing such fear of a lawsuit, the county has signaled how Pilgrim can get what it wants in the future. Bergen County has totally mishandled the situation, alienated residents in the process with bad decisions and lack of transparency. Bergen County is not stupid. What is the real story here? Thank you.
Thank you. Peggy Boast.
We've had one meeting with the county administration, which Joan Voss, thank you, helped us arrange. During that meeting with residents, several promises were made by the county administrator to investigate the county's authority to deny survey permits, including contacting Union County and the dozens of municipalities who have called for an immediate moratorium on surveying activities related to the proposal. The administration has not provided us with any of the promised information. We have even offered to stop advocating for rescinding survey permission if they could convince us that their actions are in the best interests of the county. Our repeated requests for a follow-up meeting have never even generated a reply. We are convinced that the most effective position for every municipality and county is to deny survey permission. This has been shown time and again to cause pipelines major delays, and in some cases, plans have even been shelved. Pilgrim must provide survey results in order to meet DEP information requirements. Preventing them from doing this will strengthen the county's position. Giving them survey access will weaken it. In central New Jersey, along the Penn East pipeline route, 70% of landowners have denied Penn East survey access, and Mercer County itself has rescinded survey permission. This has also slowed the approval process because Penn East doesn't have enough data to submit an application to the New Jersey DEP, and New Jersey DEP doesn't have enough information to review. This has made it much harder for Penn East to achieve necessary permits. None of the landowners or Mercer County have been sued. In New York State, the Constitution Pipeline has been delayed for more than 2 years because no one has let them on their property. They have not received a 401 water quality permit, which Pilgrim also needs because there is not enough survey information. As demonstrated in these two situations, our best strategy and our best strength is to act together with other counties and landowners. By not letting them on your property and not supporting an alternative route, we can stop Pilgrim Pipeline. Bergen County is now a weak link in our ability to effectively implement this strategy. Residents do not believe Bergen County is taking the steps necessary to protect their water, property values, health and safety, and particularly in the Highlands region of Mahwah and Oakland, where the pipeline would cross the Ramapo River aquifer. This stands in stark contrast to the past responses. In 2015, the county freeholders passed a resolution opposing the project, citing risks to public health, safety, and the drinking water. The county executive has said he supports the resolution. Our window of opportunity to stop Pilgrim from surveying is really short. Action must be taken immediately.
3 minutes, Ms.
Even a moratorium on surveying until the related issues have been investigated would be a positive step forward. The public outcry against Pilgrim Pipeline in Bergen County and throughout the region gives you the support to rescind the survey permission. We urge you to do the right thing. We want to continue to work with you to prevent Pilgrim from constructing their pipeline. Rescinding survey permission is one of the best ways to stop the proposal from going forward, protect our safety and the environment, and restore public faith in our elected officials and institutions. Thank you for your anticipated actions on this issue.
Matt Smith.
Was that Rapple boy?
I'm sorry? Matt Smith, I'm sorry.
Hi, can I approach the?
You could give it to John.
Great. These are letters for the county executive, handwritten from Bergen County residents calling on the executive to use his authority to rescind the survey permission. I want to thank everyone that came out tonight. I think it's telling that this many people are here. We all know what the course of action is, yet our elected representatives seem to not know what to do in this scenario. So thank you all.
Mr. Chairman, can we have an address the chair, please?
This is a non-utility oil pipeline project that threatens our health, safety, and drinking water, and demonstrates a complete lack of courage and conviction on the Freeholder Board and the administration to fail to act on the power they have to keep this private oil venture company out of our parks and out of our watershed. To date, our elected representatives have given us multiple excuses for not taking action. They've cited legal liability, which clearly the two previous speakers have stated that other counties who are denying survey permission are not facing legal challenges. They've said that DEP would force their hand, and the DEP has responded in saying that that's not accurate. They've cited governmental structural differences as to why the Freeholder Board can't pass a resolution calling on the administration to deny and rescind survey permission. All of these excuses are just that, excusers. And Bergen County voters have good memory. So basically, do you want to be remembered as the board who stood by and did not act on your power to keep this oil company out of our parks and protect the water supply for millions? Because the voters are here and they're going to remember. This issue is not going away. We've heard that resisting surveys has a proven track record. The other thing that we haven't talked about is the big elephant in the room, which is the climate crisis. Here we are in 2016, scientists and politicians of all stripes, district attorneys from 12 states are now stepping up to the plate to enforce greenhouse gas emissions on the dirtiest fuels on the planet. Yet here we are, and we can't even get our local Freeholder Board to keep a pipeline company, which provides no benefit for the county, and would just lock us into more and more extreme and dirty fossil fuels. We're rolling out the red carpet for them and letting them into our parklands. First responders, no one's talking about that. Who's going to be there to put out the fire when this pipeline goes boom? It's not going to be you. That's why yesterday the Mahwah fire chief signed on to our letter endorsing our campaign to keep the Pilgrim pipelines out of New Jersey and to stop this pipeline project. A major pipeline spill like the ones we've seen in the Yellowstone and Kalamazoo rivers, or the ongoing water crisis in Flint, Michigan, should be all the impetus that you need to take the action that we're asking for you. But apparently, with this Freeholder Board and with this administration, the only way to get what we, your voters, need is through organizing. So that's what we're going to continue to do. And with our water facing an unprecedented threat, now is not the time for excuses. Now is the time for courage and conviction. And we're asking you to act before it's too late. Thank you.
John Wendy.
Good evening.
Good evening.
John Wendy, W-E-N-D-E. Thank you. Okay, my name is John Wendy. I'm a resident of Bergen County. I reside in Moonachie, New Jersey. I'm also the business manager of Pipe Fitters Local 274 here in New Jersey. And along with my partners, the operating engineers, laborers, and Teamsters, we support the Pilgrim Pipeline. I've been doing this pipeline work for over 43 years. The Pilgrim Pipeline is the safest way to move oil and refined products that we all need and will create well-paying jobs for New Jersey working families. I live in New Jersey. I love my town as much as anyone else, and I have a 30-inch high-pressure gas main running down the middle of my street. I'm not afraid of it. They're all installed in the most safest manner possible. I'm here to tell you that our pipe fitters are among the most skilled in the nation. We've done thousands of miles of pipeline work, and we know what we're doing. I have complete confidence that Pilgrim will be built in an environmentally responsible manner. It's simply the best and safest way to move oil and refined products that we all depend on. Bergen County must continue to provide survey access to Pilgrim Pipeline. Pilgrim is conducting these surveys in accordance with state law. The surveys are non-invasive ecological surveys. The irony here is that Bergen County's own Pilgrim resolution calls for a full environmental review. And that's exactly what Pilgrim is trying to do, yet some in this room are telling you not to allow it. Bergen County must allow Pilgrim Pipeline to survey access. It needs to complete the environmental review as required by law and by this Freeholder Board's own resolution. And I hope you take that into consideration. Thank you very much.
Paula Rogovin. Hope I didn't.
Paula Rogovin, R-O-G-O-V-I-N. Teaneck. Hi, I'm from the Coalition to Ban Unsafe Oil Trains. I've been here before. When I was here last time, I brought a bottle of water and shook it, representing regular crude oil, and a bottle of Coca-Cola representing back in crude. And I scared you a little bit, but I didn't open the bottle. But you guessed what would happen when I shook the Coca-Cola. And if that stuff ignites, there's a firebomb. It's dangerous, it's volatile, it's scary. As you know, our coalition's been working to end the transport of volatile back in crude on the CSX River line through all the 11 Bergen County communities. It goes over our reservoir, affecting 800,000 people and our drinking water. But so you might wonder why a bunch of us from the Coalition to Ban Unsafe Oil Trains is here supporting the people who are trying to prevent this survey of Pilgrim. We don't want the survey, and we don't want the construction of the Pilgrim pipeline. We are united. Those of us who are opposed to the oil trains and those of us who are opposed to the barges and the pipelines. They're all dangerous, and the track record for the pipelines is very, very bad. It's dangerous when there's an explosion, when there's a leak, when there's any kind of explosion, when it goes into a water supply, when it gets into the land, when it gets into the water where there are fish, where there's drinking water. It's dangerous, and it lasts a long time. In Lamagantic, Quebec, where there was a back-end crude oil explosion, they're still trying, almost 3 years later, to clean the water, their drinking water, and the earth where the oil leaked. The pipelines are no safer than the oil trains. So you're saying, well, how do we get the oil transported? We want a transition to clean, safe, renewable energy. That's what we need. And we need money to be invested. We need money to be invested in that research and development of clean, safe, renewable energy. So we stand with it. Our coalition stands with everyone here. Now, I'm a union person. I'm a teacher. I'm in the United Federation of Teachers for 42 years in New York City. And I heard our colleagues in another union talking about the jobs. And jobs we know are so important, but the jobs building a pipeline are short term. And while we support the effort to get jobs, those are short-term jobs, and we need to protect our safety.
Gonzalez.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lisbeth. I have more than for me. I am here to support Thank you. I'm here to support what everyone has saying about how much they oppose to the pipeline to being built. But the reason why I'm here is because I have questions. One of the questions is, if somebody here can answer to me. Yes, the reason why I'm here is because I want to ask some questions regarding the reason why you have the freeholders have allowed for this pipeline issue to hear about it. Why have you not when the company came to you and have the plans to build this pipeline, why didn't you rejected the project from the start? Why are you taking into this consideration? What is the other question? If they want to build this pipeline in a government land, how much money or what they are giving in return? Because you are not giving the land for free. There is something in exchange. Those are the two questions. Somebody.
Ms. Gonzalez, the form of government in Bergen County is under the optional county charter law. It's called the county executive form of government. This body is the legislative branch and does not have the authority to entertain the kinds of inquiries that you just referenced in your question. So no representatives of that agency that you mentioned could come to this board and ask for the board to do something because this board does not have the authority to take that kind of action. The county administration is the place where those kinds of decisions are made. The Freeholder Board last year passed a resolution that opposed the project that you've asked about. And that is all of the activity that has been engaged in by this Board of Chosen Freeholders with respect to the Pilgrim Pipeline to this date.
So what power are you tonight? What power are you going to you need to give in order for the survey to proceed?
There's nothing else though.
We have no power.
This board does not have authority over the survey process.
So what will you be you're saying? What will be the freeholder saying?
And your 3 minutes your 3 minutes has expired.
Yes. My last question, if you can answer, please. What is the vote you have to give in order for this pipeline to be built or not built? What is your power?
There is no vote on that. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. For the, just as a point of order, for the pipeline to be built, there would need to be a vote before this freeholder board. Ultimately, yes, right.
That's not what's happening here now.
Okay, thank you so much.
John Roth? John Roth?
To be built.
It's R-O-T-H, John, from Mahwah, New Jersey. I'm here tonight as a constituent of yours. I'm also here tonight as a councilman from the Township of Mahwah. As president of that body, I also speak for that body. But my reason for being here is to implore this body to please pass a resolution requesting that the county executive rescind the permits for surveying the Pilgrim Pipeline. My request is made on behalf of the 25,000 plus residents of the Township of Mahwah who are also constituents of yours. We are familiar, and I am sensitive to, the legal issues that you have broached and brought up in connection with this request. We also understand those issues very closely because we have dealt with them in Mawa. We have passed an ordinance, we have passed a resolution prohibiting this pipeline. We have done so because we considered the health, the safety, and the well-being of the residents of Mawa to be paramount and a higher priority than a protection from a lawsuit. I am asking you to take the same view. Take a longer view here. And in considering a longer view, ask yourself the question, is Bergen County prepared to step up in the event of a disaster or some catastrophe with that pipeline and replace the water that will be lost in the township of Mawa? Does the Bergen County budget have a line item to deal with such a disaster or catastrophe? Because if not, then perhaps you need to reconsider the actions permitting this project to go forward, inclusive of surveying. Any part of this, please do not hide behind the shield of a lawsuit. I challenge you here to step up, consider the safety of our residents in Mawa and all of Bergen County. There are tens of thousands in Mawa alone. There are probably 1 million in Bergen County that could be negatively impacted should something go wrong with this pipeline. And I don't think you're fully prepared to accept the consequences of that at this point in time. So please, would you please consider passing that resolution? The county executive needs to hear from you, and he needs you to step up and take a position and a point of view in rescinding these survey permits. Believe me, he'll listen because all the residents of Mawa and all of Bergen County will be listening too. Thank you.
I'm going to take one more out of order. Mr. Peck? I don't know. You okay, Kim?
Hi, my name is Jeffrey Peck. I represent the healthcare professional and allied employees at Bergen Regional Medical Center.
Good evening.
Hi. I just wanted to, I know you guys read the papers. I read the paper today. You hear me talk about the hospital often. You basically know what my opinions are. You know that I don't normally defend the managers of the hospital. But I take personal umbrage at one of the allegations that was made in the article in the record. There are a lot of things wrong with that institution that could be corrected, and we look forward to the day that they are done. There are many, many different personalities on the management side and on the workers' side, and some of those managers are not perfect. But the notion that was put forth that our managers are racist is just despicable. It's just a card that should not have been played. It's not true. They will look to make money on the illness of anybody, of any race, creed, or color, because that's all they care about is making money. And the workers at the hospital will try to cure and help the people that come before us, and we don't particularly care either. Did somebody maybe possibly do something wrong? I don't know the ins and outs of any particular, but I can assure you as one of the workers and as a union representative in that hospital that that part is not true. In that same vein, I know that you're being asked to put forth resolutions and stuff, whatnot. If it would be possible for you to possibly craft a motion that anybody who does contracting work or works in the name of the county and employs a number of people, that they should all make $15 an hour. I've brought it forth to the management in the past, and I am told that the people that don't make $15 an hour are not of my bargaining unit, but they take care of my patients and my residents in the hospital, and we would hope that they should get the same respect. If you can make $15 an hour flipping a burger in McDonald's, you should be able to make $15 flipping my parents and cleaning them up. You know, I think you have that in your authority.
3 minutes.
3 minutes?
Yes, sir.
I also wanted to, you'll be getting an invitation May 3rd, a legislative breakfast at the Woodcliff Lake Hilton, and we hope you all can attend.
Thank you. Glenn Feinberg?
Is he here?
Glenn Feinberg. Is there a Glenn? Jonathan Marcus.
Is it? Yes.
Oh, there you go. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Glenn, and I live in Hackensack. And this pipeline is a disgrace. It's going to hurt a lot of businesses. It's going to have a lot of suing, because the businesses are going to be suing. You're going to lose a lot of economy in this town, in Bergen County, and you just make the town even worse. A lot of sick people around here, and people will be packing up and leaving and moving to other towns or other cities or other states. And at the end, you have nobody here because everybody will be dead from being sick or sick in the hospital with cancer. Or you have a huge lawsuit from each business and homeowner. But that won't do any good when people are sick. This thing
I'll give it to you, Kim.
is a disgrace. If I was running the county, I would not let it happen. I don't want my mom getting sick. I don't want my cat getting sick, and I don't want to get sick, and I don't want anything else getting sick. I don't want my neighbor getting sick. I don't want to have brown water come out of my faucet and having to go to the store and buy water, and there's no water there because people bought it. And I'm not a rich person. I can't afford to buy water all the time. And I'm not going to walk around with dirty clothing and smell like a skunk because I can't shower. I can't wash the dishes. I can't wash the clothes. And then I'll get sick from that. And I've been in a hospital and I die. Just because you want to make a profit. Money before people. That's disgusting. Money before people and nature. That is disgusting. When I lived in the 70s, we never had this problem. We never had this problem. The animals could live in no fear, the trees could live in no fear, the animals could live in no fear, and everybody could live just fine. And everybody was happy. And that's noise. And then people are going to be losing the value of their houses. And businesses will be leaving. Businesses will be packing up and leaving. And then if they leave, that means that you will lose revenue. If businesses leave because of this, they will lose revenue. You will lose, the county will lose revenue. You want it to be like Detroit, where they're losing revenue? You want it to be like Atlantic City, they're losing revenue? It's going to be like that. It's going to look like Detroit. It's going to look like Atlantic City, where the residents live. It's going to look like that. The casinos are packed up and left. Well, business will pack up and leave to another state. And if they leave to another state, that means the county loses money. And then everybody, the residents here, will pack up and leave too. And then you have and you have lines and lines and lines of houses, lines and lines of businesses for sale, for sale, for sale, for sale, for sale, for sale, for sale. And people are going to be looking up on the computer, saying,
3 minutes, Mr. Feinberg.
Oh, fracking, oh, fracking, oh, fracking. No one's going to buy a house because of that.
It's 3 minutes,
No one's
Mr.
going to buy.
Feinberg.
No one's going to move in and have a business here.
Mr. Feinberg, Time's up.
People want to name it as clean water and clean air. It's crack.
Thank you. Thank you.
I would never vote for you guys. This is why I don't vote. I don't vote because all you guys care about is money.
Thank you, Mr. Feinberg. Your time is
All
up.
you care about is a vote and money.
Jonathan Marcus, thank you.
You don't care about us.
Thank you.
Feinberg.
Good evening. M-A-R-C-U-S, first name Jonathan. I'm here as a resident of Mawa and as vice chair of the Environmental Commission in our town. 18 months ago, our commission raised our hand in our town and we said, this Pilgrim pipeline is a danger. Our town responded. Our town came out with a strong voice, and that sent the cavalcade through Bergen County, through New Jersey, through the Senate, legislatures. Everybody was coming out saying we don't like this, including yourselves, and I thank you for it. But at the end of the day, when we allow actions to happen like what's going on in our town now, it makes us feel in our town that we're not being listened to because we are residents of this county. We have a history, unfortunately, of pipelines. We have a natural gas pipeline that a former version of this board paved the way for to let it be expanded in our town. There are residents in our town that are impacted by that. They have had to deal with the outcome from that, from a company who in many cases has made promises they haven't kept. Their quality of life has been injured by it. So we're stung a little bit. We're sitting here saying what's coming next. As was noted by Ms. Bost, you know, if this pipeline has issues, it's Mawa firefighters, Mawa EMTs, Mawa residents that are going to be on the front line here. It's our schools that are going to be impacted in our town. We are, the land is in our town. It is parkland. It is your county parkland that we are all a part of, but it's in Mawa. We've made a strong voice. We've made it very clear. We don't want this pipeline in our town, and we're asking that you join our voice, that you evidence that this board agrees with Mawa, agrees with Oakland, agrees with all the other towns across this state, and ask the county administration to please rescind the surveying going on, because if you don't, what all you're doing in my mind is you are enabling it to go on. Speak with a voice as the other towns have. You represent all of us. But most importantly, from my point of view, the residents of my town are going to be on the front line of your actions. Thank you.
Councilman Hermanson?
Good evening. Evening.
Good evening.
Didn't expect to be back here, but former freeholder and councilman here in Township Mawa. First of all, let me just state that I want to thank you guys for doing the resolution and putting a resolution forth that had a passing against the pipeline. The county executive then stood up and said that he was also for this resolution. Somehow now we're still sitting here in a room, though, where there's a survey going through my town, allowing them to come in to talk about putting a pipeline through, even though, quote unquote, that they're against this. You know, to me, I want to hear about the protection, about the lawsuits, and saying that this is the best way of doing this. That's all garbage. I sat on this board. I know what the deal is. Okay? The only way this pipeline goes through and allows them is as the state tells us that it has to go through. We can protect ourselves by telling them not to have to do the survey. Why we have them in there, I have no idea. Personally, I think that it's a mistake, and for our town. I'm personally looking at this and I say about jobs. You know, I'm not against jobs. I'm not against putting having a pipeline and having the pipe fitters work or whatever. But I am against having a pipeline go through our main water source in our town. That's going to affect all of our people. You know, right now, you guys are dragging your feet. And the longer you drag your feet, the more survey work gets done. The more survey work gets done, the better chance they have of getting a pipeline through. To me, I don't understand why this is not being stopped. There should have been a resolution put through on this board right now. In fact, I noticed that the county executive, who generally makes most of the meetings, is not here tonight. But I know he made sure he was at the dinosaur, park to go in there and show up for the dinosaur picture because he made sure it was in the paper for that. But you know what? He's not here to face the people. The bottom line to me is very simple. Okay, it's very, very simple. This should have been stopped. It should be stopped for the people here in this room. Why we're doing this and why we're sitting on our hands, I don't understand. You have the ability right now on this board, as I've sat here, to have two of you have the guts to have one make a motion and the second one to second it right now to tell these people here that you're going to go in to rescind the survey pipeline, on the survey for the pipeline. And I'd like to see who actually has the guts on this board to do it. Because, it's one thing. When I sat on that board, there was many times I made very difficult decisions. Not ones that everyone was happy about, or the ones that people thought that we should do. But you know what? We did the things that were right. Mr. Driscoll and I sat there, and we know what how things work. I sat here with Maura and David. I sat up here with the people and with John, knowing what has to be done. You have the opportunity right now in front of these people to stand up and show that you put your money where your mouth is. The 5-1 vote that you made means that you should pull the surveys. It means that that's what you go in and tell the county executive now. So I want to know which two of you are going to stand, who's going to make the motion now, and who will second it. Who's going to make the motion?
There is no motion, Mr. Hamilton.
Who's going to make the motion?
There is no motion. Your time has expired.
So then exactly that. It's all talk, no action. All talk, no action.
Speaking of all talk, Mr. Chairman, if I may.
All talk, no action.
Speaking of all talk. Excuse me, ma'am. Speaking of all talk, no action. When you sat on this board, Mr. Herman.
Yes.
You voted.
For a natural gas pipeline. You got it. That's right.
You voted to take acreage out of Mawa and put it out of Green Acres so that you could expand a pipeline. You voted to clear-cut trees in Mawa so that you could build a pipeline. You voted without wincing about the effect that this was going to have on the residents of the reservation or the residents of Mawa.
She's now addressing me.
She's addressing your comment. You've had your 3 minutes.
No.
Please have a seat.
I'm answering my question. I'm answering this.
asking you a question.
I had that pipeline put through because there was a natural gas pipeline. The one was already there for over 50 years to put a safer one through for my residents to protect the people in Bergen County. Get your facts straight, Ms. Zor.
This board cares profoundly and deeply and has acted by voting for a resolution and has put forth we have continued to not only walk a walk, but talk a talk. I mean, not to talk a talk, but to walk a walk.
Mr. Chairman, please, the member's out of order. This board was diligent in allowing the man to speak. I would appreciate respect from everyone else in the audience to allow the freeholder to speak.
Thank you, Freeholder.
This has been a political grandstanding, and I understand that this is a football game to you, where you're concerned about scoring points. I respect every single one of you, and I applaud you being here tonight. I am so pleased to hear the perspectives of every single one of you in this audience, because you are genuinely and sincerely committed to making sure that my children, I'm in Franklin Lakes, this is my backyard too. I want to make sure that we're doing things in a manner that protects all of our residents.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, I think that we have to get away completely from the politics of this right now and address the people who are here and the concerns that they do have.
So I'd like to continue.
Yes, there was a pipeline vote, natural gas pipeline. The vote, I believe, was 6-1. Proud to say I was the one that voted against granting the easement and having that vote through Mawa.
Actually, it was 4-3. It was 4-3.
The final vote for the easement on that, well, I would like to look at what you're looking at, because I do believe it was very different.
You did vote against it, Barry, you did.
I did. I do think that we owe the public and those that have been emailing us and calling us and wanting to meet with us a response. We have so many more people that want to speak here this evening on the same issue. I am imagining with the same perspective. And I do think that if we all feel as strongly as Freeholder Zur says, that we should have a motion to request the county executive to rescind the permit to survey.
I thought this wasn't, right now, we're going to continue to let everyone speak. So I'm calling the next speaker. The next speaker is...
I thought this wasn't going to be political.
Cesar Gambio.
Political responsive.
No response.
Mr. Chairman.
You can't make a motion in the
CESAO. I promise you I'll be less than 3 minutes, and I didn't insult any of these. Chairman Tonelli and fellow freeholders, thank you for the opportunity to speak before you. I'm a resident of Bergen County. I live in Glen Rock, New Jersey. I'm also a business agent for Local 825 Operating Engineers. I represent 7,000 members who are in favor of to build the Pilgrim Pipeline, who need the work. We also have kids that live in this town. We just don't build it short term, as was mentioned before. I have kids, I have daughters. I want to see them grow up healthy with nothing growing out of them because we built the pipeline. It's the safest form of transportation, transporting oil in our county. We have the safest and the skilled workers in the nation. And those are only a few reasons I ask you to support the pipeline. Thank you, and that's all I need.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Tony Granato.
We are here today to ask Bergen County to rescind the survey permission they gave to Pilgrim to prevent this dangerous pipeline from being built. By denying survey access, there's a much better chance the county can stop Pilgrim from receiving permits and stop the pipeline. Pilgrim would be a huge threat to our wetlands, streams, and water supply, not to mention the humongous safety risk it would inflict on our communities. The only jobs this would really create is jobs for first responders to come during a crisis situation. We're talking about a highly flammable and toxic crude oil pipeline going right through New Jersey towns. There could be leaks, there could be explosions, and it could be catastrophic for Bergen County. You all know this, and you've already taken a stance. But what I'm bringing here today is the New Jersey Sierra Club's perspective of the battles that we've been fighting around the state, pipeline after pipeline proposal. Unfortunately, I had seen pipeline proposals that actually got built. But in our success stories, even this week, we've had the Penny's pipeline that would go from Pennsylvania into Mercer and Hunterdon County. That pipeline company has now had a 7 to 10 month delay because they don't have enough information in their application to submit permits to state agencies and regional agencies. They are scrambling because they don't have enough information, and that is because 70% of property owners along the proposed route, like Peg both said, has denied permission, and that includes counties such as Mercer County, who rescinded permission, like the position that this county is in, and Hunterdon County. Mercer County actually rescinded permission when, and in fact, their pipeline, Penny's pipeline, was causing environmental damage during the surveying. And we can provide you information on what happened. Basically, they were drilling for soil bearings, and they caused a tremendous amount of damage to Baldpate Mountain. So we're really asking you to do what's best for Bergen County again and work with us. You know the facts, and we've presented them in a formal letter on Friday, and we want you to please do what's best for Bergen County and oppose this pipeline once again by passing a resolution to urge the executor to rescind permission immediately. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Christine Logier. I say no.
Hi.
Hi.
Lozier. I have a statement from Sally Gellert. She's a very well-known environmentalist. Sally Gellert is a very famous environmentalist, very well known. She's with Food and Water Watch, 350.org, Occupy Bergen, many organizations. Most of what she has in her statement has already been discussed. She questions whether this oil is for our consumption or is it being shipped overseas for profit. I also have read that these pipelines, the new ones, are much worse. They have a much higher failure rate than the old ones from 1940. They have a high corrosion rate, and the new technology to detect does not detect. And since the pipeline is underground, it's not detected. It does all the damage before anything can be done. Nothing is safe with this oil, and it's distracting us from moving on to renewable energy. I also would like to talk about Trans-Pacific Trade Agreement, because if that comes to full Trans-Pacific Trade Agreement, which will override the rights of the nation state. If there is a spill from this oil, the company has the right to sue the country for the damages. The taxpayer will pay the damages. And this can't be overturned. The corporations, these multinational corporations, have total control. Once the damage is done, that's it. Also, this Suez Water Company is going to have a windfall from these oil spills and the fracking. There will be no clean water. It would not be inconceivable that we'll be paying $20 for a bottle of water. This is a multinational monster. It's one of the 10 worst multinational corporations in the world. It already owns 70% of the water supply in the world. Also, the privatization issue, when you have one multinational corporation owning the fossil fuel supply or the water or whatever, you have no control over this anymore. So we have to stop it now. And that's it. Short and sweet. Thank you.
Don Cena? Don Cena?
SENA from Oakland. I just would like to say it's unacceptable that our elected officials in Bergen County will not take every action in their power to protect the health and well-being of the citizens of this county. It seems like, since you passed a resolution, that the Bergen County executive is ignoring your will. Seems like you should be able to do something about that. I know the Bergen County executive is ignoring our will because I was part of a demonstration here the other day, and he didn't even bother to talk with us. He sent a representative, and all the representative did was accept our 1,000 petitions. There are 1,000 signatures on our petitions. Anyway. Thousands of Bergen County residents depend on the sole source Ramapo Aquifer for their water. The best thing that the county can do is to rescind the survey permits for county land granted to Pilgrim. They have been assured by the NJDEP that they have the right to do that, to rescind the permits. The county is allowing Pilgrim to move forward based on fear of a lawsuit. Other counties and municipalities have refused permission with no consequences. We will remember in November that how you guys are going to react. Thank you.
Gail Bruner?
Hi, Gail Brunner, BOU, New York.
Good evening.
Good evening, Bergen County Freeholders.
It's an honor to be here and also very intimidating. I happen to be a River Edge resident and my name is Gail Brunner. I have a Bachelor of Science from Rutgers University and previously a health inspector licensed by the state of New Jersey for 32 years in over 12 communities in Bergen County. I worked on the front lines serving Ridgewood, Westwood, Wyckoff, Waldwick, Hohokus, Midland Park, Montvale, Hillsdale, Fair Lawn, Old Tappan, and the Bergen County Health Department in the past, and other communities protecting the public's health, all here in Bergen County. I was involved with H1N1 swine flu, Ebola, Hurricane Sandy, including setting up shelters and working with our various first responders, including police, fire, and ambulance, and an OEM, Office of Emergency Management, official in Hohokus, and I am very well respected in my communities. At the health department, we track and monitor diseases, illnesses, including odor complaints and drinkable potable water concerns. We have a public health nurse on staff to reach out to these ill people to determine what illnesses they have and where they were so we can prevent them. We receive the panic phone calls of local residents that are sick, scared, and desperate. By approving this pipeline survey, it will only bring more environmental and public health concerns to our areas. We need to be concerned about our first responders, such as our police officers, volunteer ambulance, and volunteer firefighters, who are our family members, friends, and coworkers that will be responding when accidents happen of this highly volatile shale oil transporting through our area. Shale oil fracking has harmful impacts and contributes to climate chaos, of which we have been experiencing with this unusual weather. I was a Cub Scout leader for Pac 95 in River Edge, and we often hiked in this beautiful parkland. If I recall, John Felice, we hiked with you and your son Nicholas.
That's right.
This is absurd that this proposal is even being considered. We invested tax dollars to preserve this land, not to hand it over to the private oil company for profits. Please remember, there is no benefit for Bergen County or New Jersey, and I am respectfully requesting that you rescind permission for Pilgrim to survey on county parkland. Thank you.
Stella.
Good evening. Stella, S-T-E-L-L-A, first name Warren. I'm a lifetime resident of Bergen County. I grew up in Richfield Park and I now reside in Midland Park. I'm here to express my support for the Pilgrim Pipeline. If New Jersey is going to remain a great place to live with an economy that can compete globally and create good jobs for ourselves and future generations, we need modern energy infrastructure. The Pilgrim Pipeline is a great opportunity to build the safest, most environmentally responsible, and most efficient way to move oil and refined oil products. We'd be able to get the oil off the Hudson River, out of those tank cars that go down through Bergen County every day. Excuse me. Whether we like it or not, our livelihoods will continue to rely on oil for decades to come. All Pilgrim is trying to do with these surveys is to conduct environmental reviews. I see no reason why Bergen County should deny that. Isn't that what everyone wants, a full environmental review? Bergen County must continue to give Pilgrim Pipeline the access it needs to conduct these surveys. Thank you.
Jack Daly.
D-A-L-Y. Good evening, Board of Freeholders.
Good evening.
My name is Jack Daly. I'm a professor of sustainable studies at Passaic County Community College, and I come here tonight to address the committee. You know, I'm sure you know the political metrics. You see a room full of people here.
Please address the board, please.
You see a room full of people here. Probably each one of these people probably represents the sentiment of more than 1,000 people.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, you know, we have given each of these people the opportunity to speak to this board, and I am offended by people interrupting this young man from speaking. So, Mr. Chairman, if I would ask you to please ask the audience to refrain from comments when this gentleman is trying to give his public comment. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So, just one second. I'd please ask everybody to refrain comments and give everybody courtesy at the microphone, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
And I stopped the clock for you all then.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Please continue.
There we go. Anyway, you see these people who came, and many other people could not come, but probably every individual, according to political metrics, probably represents the sentiment of 1,000 people. So many people have their families to deal with, working, keeping up with high property taxes, mortgages, and the like. I come here also. You know, one statistic I wanted to keep with you, I teach in environmental science, is that globally speaking, all the water on the planet that we have, only 1% of it that humans have access to it is fresh water. So this is not only the issue of water, this is our most, next to people, this is our most precious resource. Human beings cannot live 3 days without water, and we're jeopardizing this. I am a long time, I grew up, I live outside, I live in Harriman, New York, but my family is longtime residents of Fort Lee, New Jersey. Hello, Ms. Ross. And we've been there for over 100 years now. And the last time I went to my cousin's house, and I turned on the spigot, the faucet to drink a glass of water, I could not believe how awful it was. I had to spit the water out. I was just like, this is terrible. We live in a state that has an unbelievable toxic legacy. I live up on the New York border, and I applaud the Mawa leadership for coming down here, who represent thousands of people who feel this way. We are still digging out from the Ford legacy of a company that voluntarily dumped tens of thousands of gallons of car paint all over that area. And if you go to the United Water Wells, right there in Hillsborough, New York, they dug right through the paint. That stuff all goes right into our watershed, all into our aquifers, trickling down. How many of you in this room have had cancer visit your family? That is testament to this state, which we live in a country that has toxic, I mean, I can't even express it so much, it's upsetting to me, that people, our resources, no, I'm getting off this, yeah. Let me just frame this. This is a security issue. It's a water security issue. It's been stated the wars of the 20th century were fought over oil. The wars of the 21st century will be fought over water. Water is running out all over the world. And it's important not just to look at this county. We are connected to everything. And this is one thing I tried to inculcate to my students, is that everything is interconnected. And not just to act in our own shallow interests as one county, one town. Let's think about the broader picture.
3 minutes, Mr. Dale.
Okay, that's all I'd like to say. Thank you very much.
Robert Lane. Robert Lane.
Here he comes.
Oh, okay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm a member of Local 825 and a resident of Lyndhurst, New Jersey. Nice to meet you. I'm here tonight to express my support for the Pilgrim project. Unlike some people here tonight who oppose the project, many of our members live and work right here in Bergen County. We love our county as much as anyone and choose to live here and raise our families. Our economy and our community needs to keep thriving. Oil and refined products are moving through communities every day. This project will just provide a safer, more modern way of transporting them. The current approaches of using barges and trains is outdated and ineffective. Our local members are some of the best trained and most skilled pipeline workers in the country. I will tell you firsthand, these projects are built in an environmentally responsible manner. People discuss that jobs are created are temporary. But that's the nature of the construction business, plain and simple. Jobs come and they go. These jobs have to pay our mortgages, send our kids to college, and allow us to spend money in our local Bergen County community businesses. Once we are finished with the project, the upgraded infrastructure helps attract and retain businesses to the area as well. For this reason, I urge a full and thorough environmental review to be done in accordance with state law. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Al Frontoria.
F-R-O-N-T-H-R-I-N. Good evening, I'm Al Fronteria. I live in Bergen County in Lodi. I'm here to represent the Pilgrim pipeline as far as any other pipeline. My thought and theory is I think it's the safest way to move oil, safer than by truck, train, or barge, with the impact that those vehicles and trains leave on the earth. I think it's much safer for the earth. Once it's done, we restore the land back to its existing condition, if not better. It's just a safer way to move it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rachel Funcione.
There she is.
Funcheon. I just have a brief statement to make, basically in solidarity with all the other people that have spoken against the pipeline. I live in Watchung in Somerset County. I'm a member of the Environmental Commission there, and a concerned citizen. Watchung was one of the first towns to pass a resolution. We've passed 2 resolutions now against to stand against the pipeline and try and keep it from going through our town. And our Board of Education has also adopted that resolution. A crude oil pipeline would greatly reduce property values in all the towns that it would go through, all 28 towns. If you could buy a house in a town that didn't have a crude oil pipeline going through it, wouldn't you? I would buy in a different town. But much more importantly, the pipeline would pose serious health and safety risks to nearby residents and first responders alike. And by the way, Watchung, like many local towns, has a completely volunteer first responders, and they would be completely ill-equipped to handle any kind of catastrophe related to the pipeline. Other serious risks include toxic and carcinogenic fumes, forced evacuations of homes for prolonged periods of time, and permanently polluted drinking water. Many people in my town use well water, and the Pilgrim pipeline would literally be within 200 feet of their backyards, their backyard wells and the wellheads. If these pipelines are approved, it will set a precedent for future oil development through our watersheds and through our densely populated communities. I do not believe that this pipeline has any business going through our suburban backyards or through our precious watersheds. You must stop this pipeline now and rescind survey permission. It's the single most effective way to stop the Pilgrim pipeline from being built in our communities. You have the power to do something so important, and I urge you to use it. Thank you.
Susan Reeves. Susan Reeves. Oh, no, she's leaving. Jacqueline Gurgis.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Jacqueline Gerges, the founder of Sustainable Bergen. And I'm the founder of Sustainable Bergen. And as we could see today, more and more people are putting the environmental issues at the front line. And they are expecting their political leaders to do the same. Cities around the world are leading the way in the fight against climate change for this reason. The world's cities account for 70% of greenhouse gases emission. That is why Sustainable Bergen have written a proposal to the county executive and to the freeholders. We outlined ways the county could help municipalities to become more sustainable through best practice and lower their carbon footprint, while improving the quality of life of the residents. In addition, cities in Bergen County will get thousands of dollars in grant. We could also help municipalities to become more resilient and prepare for climate change. It is going to take policy leaders, political leaders, the private sector, and ordinary citizens to work together to make an impact on climate change. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Karen Keaton.
Tiedens. Thank you. Thank you for letting me speak tonight. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sure. In a March 10th letter, County Administrator Dominic Novelli said denying Pilgrim the opportunity to survey could leave the county without any input on the path of the proposed pipeline. However, denying access will not mean the county will not have input because they own the land. Denying access is actually the most effective way of stopping the project. In New York State, the Constitution Pipeline was unable to move forward with their application for a water quality 401 permit because landowners on the proposed route had not given survey access. After 2 years awaiting approval for the 401 quality permit, the company said in early March 2016 that it will have to delay its projected date of the natural gas pipeline because it has not received the permit. Devastating incidences around the country raise many concerns regarding the transportation of the dangerous Bakken crude, whether by rail, barge, or pipeline. Whether it is traveling by rail, barge, or pipeline, it is a disaster waiting to happen, endangering our families, property, and environment, and it cannot be repaired once it has happened, as you can see. Bergen County has already passed a resolution against this project, along with all 28 towns on the route, and both houses of the state legislature. The county must rescind the approval for Pilgrim to survey on their property and protect it from further damage. And I applaud the one person on your board tonight that had the courage to stand up. I hope to see a second. I'd like to know what our next step is in order to stop this. Can you tell me? No one has an answer?
It was explained earlier.
Excuse me?
It was explained earlier that this board, it does not have the authority.
Where do we go, though, for the next step? Can you tell me that? Excuse me? There's no direction on what we should do next as a community? I would like an answer to that. If I can get an answer, if somebody can look that up and get back to me.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, once again, we give this young lady the opportunity to speak, and there are others that are interrupting her and also interrupting, and I would like, once again, for you to ask the public to please refrain from comments during public comment period. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
How do I get direction on what else I can do as someone who lives in this county?
Once again.
Thank you. Mary Blake Walsh.
sorry, Blail, B-L-E-H-L, last H-L, last name Walsh, W-A-L-S-H. I'm a member of the North Jersey chapter of the Sierra Club, and my fellow members and I went to the woods to get signatures on petitions a couple weeks ago. Actually, we started about a month ago. The first time, I had to wait 15 minutes for a parking space. This was 12 o'clock on a nice day. One of our other members could never make it because he sat in the parking lot for half an hour waiting to get into the reservation. If you've never gone up to McMillan Reservoir, it's absolutely pristine. It's just the most magnificent place. And it's magnificent because it's real woods. It's not an overpack, it's not a Saddle River Park, it's real woods. If you put these pipelines through real woods, it becomes not real woods, and it really devalues the land. Regarding the $700,000 that was paid to the county by the Tennessee Gas Pipeline in 2012, the New Jersey Code 7:36 states that compensation for that must have been remitted to the Department of Environmental Protection for deposit in a fund prior to the formal release of the green acres encumbrances on the parkland. The monetary compensation must be used for land acquisition. I would like to know what land was acquired to compensate for the parkland that was destroyed in Ramapo. It was never publicized. I realize that you're a legislative body and you cannot probably answer that, but would like to correct the impression that if the county executive thinks he's going to collect big bucks for this pipeline, the money doesn't stay in the county. It has to go back to Green Acres. I really urge you not to destroy our woods. Thank you.
Mike Gallo. Mike Gallo. Edna Berkovitz.
Can you hear me?
I think so, yes.
Is that working?
John's going to help you. John's going to help you. Maybe in a budget we can get a new thing. Yeah.
Okay. I'm also here to ask the freeholders to rescind the permit for a gas pipeline survey in northern Bergen County through the Ramapo Mountain area of Mawa. I'm a resident of Teaneck, and I often hike up there. The area is one of too few areas left for hikers, walkers, birders, and others who are concerned about leaving the earth habitable for future generations. The source of the gas is from the Marcellus Shale, oil fields, and it's a frack gas that is extremely explosive. A little louder, Edna. Okay. Such a pipeline is a ticking time bomb. The fracking process itself poisons drinking water in the areas around the oil fields. In answer to the gentleman who says the pipelines are safe, what about the May 2015 ruptured pipeline in California that dumped 21,000 gallons of oil into the ocean? The estimated cost so far is about $500 million. What about the oil-covered beach? There's no price you can put on that. And the birds and the other wildlife. And as a homeowner myself, I've had the experience of a leaking oil tank in the ground from my heating oil. I don't know how old the tank itself was, but the estimates by the environmental company was it leaked for about 16 years before it was discovered. And it cost close to $100,000 to just remediate my front lawn. Paid for by my insurance company, but in truth paid for by everyone who pays homeowners insurance. That was a very small spill compared to what we're talking about tonight, a possible spill of a pipeline. We don't want to turn the clock back, We want to look forward to a safe, healthy future for our children and grandchildren in Bergen County or New Jersey or wherever they are. And I believe it's time to support renewable sources of energy and not allow the expansion of dirty sources. Thank you.
Kathy DePinto.
Good evening. Thank you so much for listening to everybody. I really appreciate it. I'm from Chatham, New Jersey, Morris County, and I felt it was really important to be here. I was one of the original founding members of Chatham Citizens, which was a grassroots organization to oppose the pipeline. And it was a pretty watershed occasion when we had our a couple hundred people show up at Town Hall to oppose it and to ask our committee members to oppose it. And they did. And it just started the ball rolling. And I just wanted to say a couple things. I want to thank you for passing the resolution, so obviously we know you're opposed to it, but we really need you to step up and do the next step. As a mother, as a citizen, as a father, brother, uncle, anything. Our water is our most precious resource, and it's something that you can't fix. If we had some disastrous thing happen, it won't be fixable. And before you leave tonight, I'd like you to think about, would you want this in your backyard? And how would you feel if one person, just one person got sick, or one, first responder got sick because they couldn't handle this? How would you feel about that? It's in your power to do something, and I think tonight's the night. Thank you.
David Stolt. Okay. Nancy Kraus.
Nancy Krause, Krause, from Oakland. Good evening. I'm from the Oakland Environmental Commission. I'm the chairperson there. And I just wanted to ask you to please rescind the permit to survey in the Ramapo Reservation. It's one of the treasured parks of Bergen County. And in a year and a half ago, the Oakland Borough, we passed a resolution to oppose the pipeline. A few months ago, we passed the resolution banning all unregulated pipelines. And we looked at it very simply of that the geology of our area will not allow us to have any kind of accidents like that would be able to be cleaned up. You have fractured rocks, you have fault lines, and you have oil that would go down in there. How are you going to get that out? You've got a problem that's going to last for years, for generations to come. And we have a sole source aquifer that we have to protect. And it's clean and simple. We have to protect our water source. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jeff Rappaport.
Rapaport. I'm here for my grandchildren and all the people I see in future generations. I'm here to urge you to rescind the permit, as so many people have. I'm asking you to do more than that. I'm asking you to dig in your heels. Water is the key resort, is the key resource of the future. And I think you really have to get tough here. Bergen's critical in this. It's a very important county. If you doubt spills, just go to Google and put in oil spills, oil pipeline spills, or just pipeline spills. You're not going to believe the numbers of them. We haven't had many in New Jersey because we don't have very many oil pipelines in New Jersey. If you look at this globally, if you look at Alberta, they just elected a government that is, they're the center of the tar sands. They elected a government based on clean energy. If If you go to Vancouver, right next door, they don't want a pipeline to take the tar sands to the Pacific Ocean. Washington State just knocked out a port to build, despite high unemployment in the area that knocked it out. If you go Eastern Canada, well, they're sort of negotiating. It's hard to say what they want to do right now, but they've been fighting it. And the new government there has gone decidedly from a very pro-oil to quite the contrary, because the population, despite being a resource economy, has opposed it. You go to the United States, Georgia just recently knocked out a pipeline. You look where all the windmills are. They're in Texas, Iowa. These people know what's going on. If we're left in this environment, you could be leaving a legacy to your children and your grandchildren of not only this pipeline, but the future resistance against other pipelines and other resources, including gas and trains. We could become the transport capital, or one of them, of the country. Not to mention the Keystone Pipeline, which has been cut. This is very important. This is a key area, and I urge you to dig in your heels and take it seriously. Thank you.
Lorraine Bogert.
Bakken shale oil endangers people, wildlife habitat, endangers real estate, endangers watershed. It is too volatile and dangerous to transport, whether by trains, pipes, or by truck. There have been horrendous accidents with each method of transportation. Is it a wonder that North Dakota wants it out of the state as soon as it's out of the ground? Wants it refined somewhere else? Takes no responsibility monetarily to keep this shale oil in North Dakota long enough to reduce the volatility before it is loaded onto a train or a truck or fed into pipes heading for one of the most densely populated states in the nation. It's going to travel through our watershed, feet and yards from our homes, and be refined in Linden, a city that had over 41,000 people in 2013. Giving Pilgrim Pipeline LLC permission now to survey the Ramapo Reservation is as good as an implicit approval of the pipeline for Bergen County. Whatever input this permission gives the county is inconsequential compared to the real benefit of outright stopping the pipeline. Your rejection will have a greater impact for the well-being of Bergen County and help to stop the pipeline. I hope the freeholders will rescind this permission. There has been no application by the company, so why give the survey permission now? Why now? We know that an old New York state law may be a game stopper for the pipeline. We know the state of New Jersey could reject the pipeline. Public pressure matters, and what you do now matters. Please reject the pipeline, and please understand that we're just the beginning of opposition. Opposition's building. Once people know what's wrong with the pipeline, it's not going to peter out. You're going to hear more and more from us. Thank you.
Dr. Francis Goldstein.
Englewood, New Jersey. Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much. I'm not going to reiterate some of the things that have been mentioned up until now, which I think are very important scientific considerations and important things in terms of health. I'm a medical doctor. I was a professor at NYU School of Medicine for 30 years, and my area of interest is environmental health and environmental health risks. I have a particular interest in the things that are being discussed today, and I wanted to raise an issue that is not very much publicized, although if you Google it, you'll find plenty of information on it, and I hope you will tonight, which is that there is often, by the nature of things, a gap between scientific knowledge and public policy and lawmaking. It's just the nature of things. Scientists, doctors make discoveries. It takes a while for the public to learn about it, and it takes a while for legislatures to learn about it as well. So I want to give you guys a hot tip, which you're going to hear more about. And again, you can Google it. There's plenty of information. And the National Institute of Environmental Health Sciences, which is a division of the National Institute of Health, has had quite a number of conferences and published quite a bit about this, which is that oil and gas that is not derived from traditional old-fashioned oil fields, such as those that, resources that are derived as a result of hydraulic fracturing, had very much higher levels of radium, which is the type of radioactivity that is used for cancer treatment and for X-rays, which I'm sure all of us know about. And radon, which is a radioactive form, of a gaseous form of radiation, which is quite common in New Jersey, and anyone who's the homeowner knows about. Radium is far more stable than radon, and has to be regulated and controlled and precautions taken care of. As you well know, when they give you a lead apron, when you have an X-ray taken, etc. It's dangerous. It causes cancer. It causes genetic damage to all living things. So even if you have a perfect pipeline that never leaks, the radiation is still going to go through. Also, the sludge that, by the nature of any liquid flowing through a pipe, will accumulate, especially something viscous like oil, you're going to have the buildup of sludge in this pipeline. That sludge concentrates the radiation that is contained in these resources, in the oil. So wherever that pipeline is going through, over time, you're going to have the buildup and the concentration of more and more radiation going through that pipeline.
3 minutes, Doctor.
Okay. So I just want you all to please try to Google this. And TENORM, T-E-N-O-R-M, is the acronym for Technologically Enhanced Naturally Occurring Radioactive Material, and take that into consideration also. Thank you very much.
Stephen Tenier. Stephen. Louis Cipallo. Cipallo.
D-I-S-C-E-P-O-L-A. First name Louis, L-O-U-I-S. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm also going to address the topic of the Pilgrim Pipeline. And I want to dispel this myth that transport of fossil fuels by pipelines are safe. And I'm an engineer, so I like statistics. I like numbers. So between 1986 and 2013, the Federal Pipeline Hazardous Materials Safety Administration reported 8,000 significant incidents. Not every incident, significant incidents. That's 300 incidents a year. These incidents resulted in 500 deaths, 2,300 injuries, and $7 billion in damages. I don't consider that safe at all. Some of the previous speakers spoke that it might be safe to build them, but they're not safe to operate. Also, these incidents spilled 3 million gallons of oil. That's 75,000 barrels of crude oil a year, which comes out to 200 barrels a day. Furthermore, the methods used to extract these fuel sources are getting more and more toxic. How much longer are we going to pollute our Earth? I don't think our Earth could withstand any more. I think we need to take a stand, and quite frankly, without clean air to breathe, clean water to drink, and clean food to eat, there is no life, there is no liberty, and there can be no pursuit of happiness. Thank you.
Stanley Goodman.
Hello, thank you for listening to us. I just want to address one issue that has not been discussed, that is timing. I understand that the pipeline, all of a sudden I'm getting nervous up here.
Survey.
The survey, thank you, has been going on for a week already. They estimate, Pilgrim estimates that the survey will take 3 weeks. If action does not occur from you tonight, that I understand your next meeting is after that, and so it will be too late. If you act tonight, sometime down the road, if something changes and you really change your opinion, then you can always start again. But if you don't act tonight, then you will have missed the opportunity. Thank you.
I don't know if you didn't hear it or if I just mispronounced it. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Thank you for Stephen Tencer, New Milford. Tencer. Stevens with a PH. I'd like to thank the Board of Freeholders for allowing so many of us to express our opinions by our presence and by speaking. There are a number of points I would like to get to. First of all, the proponents of the pipeline have said that it's the safest form of transporting the oil. That is debatable, but none of them can say that it's a safe way. It's not safe. There are all kinds of hazards, and there are all kinds of consequences that people have talked about tonight. In a cost-benefit analysis, people have brought up all kinds of risks that would be sustained by the people living in Bergen County and by the government for the things that it is responsible for. So there are many costs, but I haven't heard one benefit to anyone in Bergen County. Another consideration is if the pipeline were to be used for many, many years, the chances of leakage or other problems and pollution just increase. But the other consideration is that the shale oil that we're getting is only going to be profitable for another few years. And in the long run, we will have no use for that pipeline except to have a relic rotting on our parklands. We also have to consider climate change by allowing one link in the process of providing more fossil fuel and a particularly volatile form and polluting form of fossil fuel. We are allowing one link to be made that leads back to producing the fuel. And the fuel is very dangerous and not beneficial to people. We are fostering the deterioration of our climate because fossil fuels are leading to climate change. There are alternate sources of energy that are less polluting, much less dangerous, and in the long run, much more cost effective. To the gentlemen, again, who've been talking in terms of who have been the proponents of the pipeline, there are so many infrastructure problems in New Jersey that certainly there are other alternatives that these skilled workers could work on that many more people could support rather than providing us with more hazardous oil.
3 minutes, Mr. Tenser.
I just have one question. I assume that the board has the authority to pass a resolution. Am I incorrect in that?
be nothing more than a ceremonial resolution.
Yeah,
It's
but
a non-binding resolution.
I understand that, but you do have the authority to pass a resolution. Thank you.
Roger Casada.
Hi. So my name is Roger Casada, and I'm a resident of Weehawken, New Jersey. And spell my last name, Quesada. And so I don't have a whole lot to say because I just joined this fight for the people that are living in New Jersey. I'm very affected by it because I do believe that water is our most precious natural resource, and as we know, it's beginning to be more and more of a problem because of pipeline contaminations, pipeline spills. There's pharmaceuticals that are going into our water that we're not able to take out. We still have not developed a great way to desalinate water, so we really only have a very limited amount of water resources. It is our most precious resource. And it says a lot when, the Rockefeller family, which is basically one of the most famous robber barons of the 20th century, are divesting from fossil fuels because they no longer see it as a long-term profitable sector. So what are they doing instead? From my knowledge, maybe I'm incorrect, but they're investing in water. And a lot of big corporations are investing in water because they know that more and more of our natural resources and more of our drinking water is becoming contaminated. And what ends up happening when you make something scarce in capitalism becomes more expensive. And they know that they can profit from this. So at the end of the day, it comes down to qui bono. Who is going to benefit from this? Are you guys going to benefit from this? Is anybody in this crowd going to benefit from this in any way, in any financial way? I highly doubt it. I personally am not. But I can tell you one thing that, I can tell you one thing that people are not going to benefit from, and it's their health. My mother had cancer. My partner had cancer. My grandmother had cancer. I don't have enough fingers in my hands and toes to count how many people in my life have cancer, and nobody can figure out where it's coming from because we're being attacked from so many different angles, whether it's from our water or air. It really breaks my heart to see little children who can't breathe, who have allergies. I had the worst allergies when I was growing up. I've happened to overcome them a lot, but I have a long way to go, and I feel like every day, every year, there's more children that have asthma, allergies, or have childhood cancer or other issues. So I think it's just a matter of morality, about ethics, okay? It's your human ethics. I know that as human beings, we can be really selfish, and we want money, and we want power, and we want all kinds of things, but at the end of the day, we're social animals, and as social animals, we have a responsibility, a moral responsibility to each other, to take care of each other, and protect water, protect our earth, and protect the environment that we live in. So that's all I want to say.
Do you need a break?
Hi, Kevin Boss from Mawa, Bergen County. Boss, B-O-S-T. From Mawa, Bergen County's Parkland. We want you to know this is not over, but we're not going away. And we'll not stop fighting you. And the Bergen County administration on this issue. This is our quality of life, and we cannot afford to give it up. Would you guys be able to amend this resolution you already passed and put a moratorium on the survey permission? Could you guys do that tonight?
Please.
Please?
We can't put a moratorium.
Would you be able to do something for us tonight?
No, we can't.
Why is that?
Nothing would happen tonight,
How
Mr.
come?
Boss, because before I would counsel the board to take any action, I would have to review it to make sure that it would pass legal muster. And frankly, I would discourage the board from doing anything that simply caters to the crowd that wants a certain resolution to be passed without it having the full force and authority that the law would enable it to have.
Excuse me one second. We've been very patient for the last 2 hours. We've given everybody plenty of opportunity to speak without being interrupted, and you continue to have outbursts. I'm going to please ask you one last time. There's only a few more speakers. The attorney's addressing his question. I would appreciate it if you stayed quiet while he was doing that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So that's my response, Mr. Boss.
Okay, I mean, because you do have union people here, which is good, and they gave their opinion on it, and you have our group here. So you guys will have to discuss it, and when will we know something? How would we find this out?
I wouldn't attempt to answer that, sir.
You can't answer that?
I wouldn't attempt to answer that.
So there's just will somebody reach out?
I can't answer that.
So nothing? Just, you couldn't even take a little hand vote?
At this time,
That's it?
sir, yes. At this time, yes.
So nobody wants to make any commitment for it?
Matt, I've asked you politely at least 6 times today. I'm not going to ask you again, okay? I asked you nicely. Stop yelling from the crowd. Thank you.
Because, I mean, in our local council meetings, at least we take a straw vote sometimes to see where we can't go any direction.
I wouldn't advise that.
You wouldn't advise it?
That's correct.
What about a moratorium?
Well,
Yeah, I mean, you could amend just a motion or
Mr.
just a
Chairman,
vote,
if,
anything.
could I please?
We all
I-
put so much effort into it.
There are certain ways to put a resolution
Right.
on our agenda, and this, of course, we're still at the public portion of our meeting. But none of them are from the dais during our public meetings. We have an agenda committee, the chairman has the power, and we can do it through a majority before the public meeting. So unless we're going to amend the administrative code, it doesn't happen from the table here. I hear what you're saying about a straw poll, and but I also understand too timing is of the essence, and our next meeting isn't until next week. So really, the only action that could take place is for each one of us to lobby the county executive through the county administrator, because he's the one who has the power of the day-to-day operation of the county.
So how would you lobby that? You would have meetings with the administrator, emails,
Any
letters, phone
communication
conversations?
method that we
Okay.
have available to us.
Okay.
Yes. And that would be the way to do it.
That's
When's
3
your
minutes,
next
Mr. Boss.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for taking up your time.
All right. Your next meeting is what, next Thursday?
Wednesday.
Or next Wednesday, okay.
Right.
Thanks.
Protect my water and don't forget about the trees.
Very effective.
Amanda Neshua? Amanda? Okay.
You did? Just like saying.
I don't think you could top that, Amanda.
Or a little puppy or something, you know?
ESHEIWAT. Okay. I'm always too short for mics. I don't know why. It bends down. It does. There you go.
You have to hold it, though.
Okay. I don't want to break it. Okay. I'm the environmental director for the town of Secaucus, but I'd like to use my 3 minutes to read a statement from Chief Mann with the Ramapo Lenape Nation. I have a statement here. I'm going to read it from my phone like a true millennial. On behalf of the Ramapo Lenape Nation, we would like to first state that as an environmental justice impacted community, we adamantly stand against the Pilgrim Pipeline or any other pipeline and or fracking wells. During the past few years, the Ramapo Mountains, which are not only a sacred place for our nation, but for the tens of thousands of residents of the state of New Jersey and of neighboring states as well. We, the Ramapo Lenape Nation, have in fact taken the lead on many issues regarding pipelines coming through the Ramapo Mountains since the first by El Paso in recent years. We had the opportunity to actually be cultural monitors as well as environmental monitors on that project with first-hand knowledge of the destruction of our protected mountains. We were appalled at the sheer amount of the impact. This would include the endangered species, sacred trees and plants to our nation, the change of habitat of all animals in the forest, as well as the disruption of the use of the many miles of trails that the larger community has come to use. As we enter into a new dawn of time, our water, which is one of the most sacred of all things, will be potentially in jeopardy. Not just for us, but for the entire state of New Jersey, which relies on the Highlands protections to ensure that we, the residents of New Jersey, will always have clean water to be able to drink and provide life, not only to us humans, but to the entire ecosystem that we strive to protect. In ending, our nation is opposed to the Pilgrim Pipeline, as well as any others that may be heading our way for mere profit. Bakken oil is a serious threat to our way of life and to our water if the potential problems that have existed other places, like in Canada, where a whole town does not exist anymore, comes to be. Thank you.
I have a motion to close the meeting. So moved. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. I'd like to take a motion for a 5-minute recess.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're in 5-minute recess.
I have a question with respect to the transcript of the portion of the meeting that has just been concluded. Would the chair allow freeholders who wish to add comments to do so at length for the next 10 days and keep the record open to allow for that?
The record can be kept open for 10 days to allow freeholders to supplement the record. Without motion.
I would ask them to each get a copy of whatever it is.
And
Through the chair.
through the chair, my question is, and then those comments would become a part of the minutes of this meeting?
Correct. It would be spread on the record in the transcript at the time that the minutes are approved.
Okay.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Freeholder. Clerk, please read the resolutions on the consent agenda.
Resolutions of consent, 341-16 through 347-16, 349-16 through 393-16.
I'll make a motion on the consent agenda, please.
Second. Please call the roll.
Freeholder Di Nicola.
Yes.
Freeholder Felice.
Yes.
Freeholder Gans.
Aye.
Freeholder Sullivan.
Yes.
Freeholder Voss.
Yes.
Freeholder Zur.
Yes.
Chairman Tinelli.
Yes. Are there any resolutions of non-consent pulled or tabled? If so, will the clerk please read them?
There is one, 348-16, which is a resolution authorizing to award professional engineering services contract to CME Associates for bank stabilization at Valley Brook Golf Course, Riverdale, New Jersey, in care of the Department of Parks, Division of Golf Administration.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
A
Second.
Call the roll.
Okay. Freeholder Di Nicola.
No?
Freeholder Felice.
Yes.
Freeholder Gans.
Aye.
Freeholder Sullivan.
Yes.
Freeholder Voss.
Yes.
Freeholder Zur.
Yes.
Chairman Tinelli.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Freeholder?
I'd like to make a motion to suspend committee reports because of the lateness of the hour.
Can you get a second on that?
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Discussion? I will abstain from voting on this, but let that not mean that I am in agreement with certain statements that were made earlier in the evening that I would respond to now as part of my committee report, in addition to responding in the written record with the extension that the chair has granted. Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Freeholder Di Nicola.
Abstain?
Freeholder Felice.
Absolutely.
Freeholder Gans.
Abstain.
Freeholder Sullivan.
No.
Freeholder Voss. Freeholder
Well,
Voss.
since I seconded it, I have to say yes.
What are you going to say? Are you yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Freeholder Zur.
No.
Oh, you're killing me.
Chairman Tinelli.
Is Freeholder Sullivan a no?
Yes.
So we have 2, 2, and 2?
Mhm.
All right.
Is that around?
Yes.
Oh, that's a yes.
No, I can't vote.
So what is it, Chairman Tinelli?
Mr. Chairman, perhaps the board would wish to consider as an alternative postponing the comments of the evening to our next meeting.
That's an even better idea.
Yeah, because we all have a lot to say. I'm sorry.
Before I vote, I'd be willing to continue with reports tonight, but because of the hour, if we could all agree to keep it very brief instead of the normal 5-minute report on what we did all week, if we can keep it brief and cover important things, then I would vote no to cancel, as long as I get everybody to agree.
I agree.
I agree.
Okay, so we'll have committee report.
The motion fails.
Oh, you broke my heart.
Sorry,
I offer a motion again, Chairman, this time to postpone the reports to the commencement of our next meeting.
I'll make it. I'll second that.
The motion was already defeated.
Well, this is a
different motion.
No, different motion. Even a better motion. I can't
The
wait
motion, for the record, the motion is to postpone the committee reports until the convening of the next meeting.
Discussion.
Motion and a second.
And I second it.
Discussion.
It's a great motion.
Chair calls for discussion.
I just believe that we have the right to say a few little things, and we'll keep it very brief. And I don't think we should ever suspend committee reports.
I second that.
You can't second a motion.
There's a motion and a second to
Roll call, please.
postpone.
Freeholder Di Nicola.
Abstain?
Freeholder Felice. Freeholder Felice.
Just happy.
Yes.
You want to postpone?
No, yeah, I want to postpone.
Okay.
Okay. Freeholder Gans.
Aye.
2.
Freeholder
We
Sullivan.
could have been done with committee reports. No.
Freeholder Voss.
Oh, I don't know.
Yes.
I'll say yes.
Yes means you want to suspend.
Yeah,
Until
I mean,
the
I have a
next-
lot to say, but not tonight. I mean,
Okay.
I can wait.
All right, thank you. That's 3 days.
3.
Freeholder Zor.
No.
Chairman Tonelli.
So if I notice
If you call if you vote
your
no, it's a tie. It fails, and the
All right, I'm saying no, as long as everybody promises to keep them short.
I do not make that promise.
Okay, except for you, Freeholder Gans.
that motion also fails, and
So
committee
first
reports
report,
may begin.
okay, Freeholder Sullivan.
First, I just want to thank all the colleagues on the Freeholder Board for Resolution 36616, Cliffside Park improvements to Zaluski Park, through developments in United States housing and urban development. Cliffside Park is one of the most populated towns in Bergen County, and anything we can do to preserve any kind of open space is a win-win. Freeholder Chairman Tonelli, County Executive Desco, we all attended the dinosaur Overpeck Park. They're coming to Overpeck Park. I think that's a great thing. So I won't read everything else I wrote about that. I do want to bring up the Irish flag raising we had here, celebrating 100 years for the Irish Rising. I was privileged to do the closing remarks, and I think it's very important, and my colleague Joan Voss will agree with this, that we don't forget our history, because we forget history, it repeats itself. And the last thing is, as the chairman of the Bergen County Transportation Committee, we want to remind everyone, New Jersey State Legislative Oversight Committee hearing is happening here in the Freeholder Chambers on the 25th of April at 10 o'clock. Thank you.
Is that Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. I want to just remember that we celebrated Greek Independence Day, and it was wonderful here in the county, and we also had a very large commemoration in Fort Lee. Senate President Sweeney came up on the 30th of last month to tour our special service school in Paramus. That school is absolutely magnificent. It is a state-of-the-art, and even though Senator Sweeney has done a tremendous amount of work down in Gloucester County, even he commented that what we have done here in Bergen County is exceptional. Just a thing is that we have a homeless shelter, and last week the Sikh group, the religious group, the Sikhs, came, and part of their religion is to help other people. It's one of the basic tenets of their religion. They donated so many blankets and shoes and clothing, all brand new. And it was absolutely marvelous. And I know now that when I speak about this, other groups will also like to help our homeless. And this is a wonderful thing. The Asian Advisory Committee, next month, May is Asian Heritage Month, and we're going to be doing a lot of commemoration. And I just have to say that one of the things I'm very concerned about is safety for our police, safety for our citizens. And we have put up in Mawa, which is a shooting range, a virtual, what should I say, it's like a reality thing. And I went up there to experience it, to see how the police are trained. I got an opportunity to practice on the virtual thing, and we're trying to give state-of-the-art equipment to our police force so that they can continue to keep us safe. I have other things to say, but that's a brief statement, and there you go.
Fielder, please.
I should have known on both those motions, but that's in the past. I'm looking forward to the budget, making sure that we do our due diligence in that process, and hopefully sooner than later, rather. And that's all I have to say for the committee reports.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Best one so far.
First
of all, I want to thank everyone who came tonight. I really do think that hearing everyone's opinions and everyone's thoughts is a really important part of democracy, and that's what we are here for. So I want to thank you for coming out and sharing your opinions with us. What I wanted to say, and most important thing that I've been working on the last 2 weeks, Project Search applications are now online. Project Search is a pilot program. Bergen County is one of the pilots where we are partnering with the Department of Vocational Rehabilitation and DDD, the Department of Developmental Disabilities, to have internships that will give young adults with developmental disabilities portable job skills and get them employed. This program has a 73% placement rate compared to the 37% employment rate we have for adults with disabilities in the state of New Jersey now. The applications are available on the Workforce Investment Board website or on my Facebook page. Please, if you have a student who is 20 years old, anywhere from 18 to 21, who could be take advantage of this opportunity, this is going to be very important. As we celebrate Autism Awareness Month, we're all dressed in blue and lighting up the building in blue, and we read in the newspaper that we have 1 now in 41 adults, 1 in 41 people with autism. Programs like this will really redefine employment going forward for young adults. Also, I wanted to bring to the attention, Freeholder Sullivan and I wrote a letter to Bergen Regional Medical Center asking for there to be more beds. They complied by providing 2. Freeholder Sullivan and I then went up there and were rearranging walls. I got a letter yesterday indicating that they're going to be building 20 more detox beds up at Bergen Regional. The first 10 won't require construction, but the other 10 will. But the first 10 we should be getting online soon. So as we're facing this heroin epidemic, we as a board are continuing to push in the direction of getting more treatment options so that we can fight this scourge head on. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Fielder. Fielder, Tina Cole.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first thing I want to say is on our agenda this evening, we had 2 resolutions that impact our veterans. The first is 364, a community development resolution granting money to Rambo House in Fort Lee, which was an historical site, but now will be turned into housing units, including housing for veterans. And the second is Resolution 371, community transportation, which is a state Veterans Affairs grant that's going to afford us approximately 4,000 trips for veterans to either VA hospitals, doctor appointments, or regional VA offices for services programs and follow-up. I also want to mention that we had our second Narcan training here for fighting the heroin epidemic. It was for families, professionals, and emergency services volunteers. It once again was a filled room. Narcan kits were given out to those who were certified that night, and it's just part of the continuing battle against especially opiate drug addiction here in Bergen County, and a tribute to those here in one Bergen County who work out of the Office of Addiction Services and really have done a Herculean job. We get to sing their praises. They do the day-to-day work of rolling up their sleeves and getting out there in the community. As you heard, it's Autism Awareness Month, and we did have a ceremony at our work meeting before this meeting. I wanted to mention that this Sunday we're going to have Autism Day at the zoo. The zoo will be open to families and children from 10 to 4:30. I also had the opportunity to attend Club Monte Carlo, the fundraiser for Bergen Community College, and our own Jim Thieberry, the head of the Division of Disability Services, was an honorary host. A portion of the fundraising proceeds from that night are going to the Turning Point program. This is a great and still relatively new program at the college. It's for students with intellectual disabilities, and they end up with a 2-year certificate. It focuses on 4 things: academic enrichment, social and recreational opportunities, self-advocacy, which is so important to independence, and integrating vocational opportunities and career skill development, ultimately helping them find jobs so that there's routine and quality of life in the end. I also quickly want to mention that I went to the Meadowlands Chamber of Commerce Educational Summit that was held its season. Great conference. A lot of members of the educational community from Bergen County here, the presidents of all the colleges that are in our county, really looking to educate toward jobs in the end. And it doesn't necessarily mean a college degree in the end. The quote that was used at the beginning of the panel was that famous Wayne Gretzky quote, "What makes you so great?" And then he replies that he doesn't skate to where the puck is, he skates to where the puck is going to be. And we are currently educating this generation to jobs that don't exist yet. So there's a lot of work and planning that does have to be done. The last thing I want to mention too, the 100 years, of the Easter Rising. Why is it important? It was regular people fighting for freedom, not soldiers, not the military, and giving their lives. But freedom doesn't mean much if you don't have a good place to live. And that's why my final comment is we really do have to follow up, especially given all of these good people who are here this evening, and do the right thing in Mahwah and Oakland and the other places where the pipeline will cut through. Thank you.
Freeholder Gans.
Thank you, Chairman. I will be brief. First, I want to say how proud I am of this board, that it listened and heard the people, but didn't feel pressured to respond in a way that would be inconsistent with our rules and inconsistent with the way this board has acted under comparable circumstances over the 15 years that I've been here. I have a lot to say about it. I'm going to put it in written remarks, but I do want to say that Freeholder Dina Kola and I and Freeholder Voss found ourselves in rare agreement on the last pipeline legislation that was here. We voted no.
That's right.
I want to talk for just one brief moment about the veterans. We are doing the right thing for the veterans as well. We're finding opportunities to make sure that they have transportation, that they have skills that they can market, and that even though we don't yet have a VA hospital, we're going to work on that as a goal with the county executive. At the community development breakfast the other week, I saw what happens when banks can work with freeholders, with the executive branch, and frankly, the American Dream program is something that is going to help thousands of people become homeowners in Bergen County. The chocolate competition. One of the rare treats that I get as a freeholder and as a diabetic is the chocolate competition. It's done at the academy. I don't take that much. I take a tiny little bit of the chocolate and help judge some really, really talented kids who are taking a different route than going on to college and academics. They're going to go into an incredible opportunity for them. They have great teachers there. They have beautiful cakes, and they are very good and very chocolatey. I have one update on the Bergen Wellness Program, and this is a personal observation. I needed to get new sets of glasses, and I used my Bergen Wellness card at Target in Hackensack. The price without the Bergen Wellness card was $1,200. With the Bergen Wellness card, I paid a little bit over $500, $750 savings. Bergen Wellness card is available to anybody. You can get it at this address. You can also get it on the county website. It's free. Discounts on eyeglasses, hearing aids, and of course on pet medication, where the typical cat who needs tuna flavored amoxicillin is able to get it at a 30% discount. That does in fact conclude my remarks, except to wish those who observe a Zison Pesach. Thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder. I hope I don't regret this, but we have a brand new aunt of a little niece that you'd like to give your sister a
I
shout
just
out.
want to, first of all, thank everyone at Valley Hospital for the wonderful care that my sister and my new niece, Zoe Abigail, received on Saturday. I'm very proud to be a new aunt and excited. And congratulations to Amy and Bel Sukas. Thank you.
I'm going to be very brief. So first, I'd like to thank Stephen Gelman and Nate Williams, our camera people tonight.
For a very long night.
Great.
We'll write you a late pass for school tomorrow.
Did they leave?
No.
So
They fell asleep.
I just want to recognize one thing that Freeholder Sullivan brought up, and that was the new attraction that we have. It's not just any attraction, it's a world-class attraction that has now come to the Bergen County Park System. And I think it's part of the vision to expand our parks so that they're year-round destinations, and this is a great benchmark. Not only that, but it gives us an opportunity to use a reclaimed landfill. The final resting place of this attraction will be on one of the landfills that we are court ordered to remediate. So I think it's a win-win for everyone to be able to take that land that's pretty much not usable at the moment and put something that's both exciting and educational for the children of Bergen County. So I'd like to congratulate the county executive staff for the hard work and for the foresight of reaching out to them and bringing them to their new home. Also, just in closing, I want to congratulate this board on the resolution we passed last year and in opposition of the Pilgrim Pipeline. This board has made its voice and its decision to pass a resolution. We all sat here and made our point and let everyone know where we stand. We had a lot of people in the audience tonight that kept asking us to do something that is not within the scope of our ability. I will sit down with the county executive and I will let him know that we had a crowd, and I'll let them know, as I'm sure the administrator will let him know about what actually took place tonight, so that he's informed on pretty much everything that everybody has said. So in that, if there's nothing further before this board, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.